almost there. In fact, we got to see the trailer again last night, or was it last? Yeah, last night. Doctor Strange for Star Wars Rogue One is almost upon us. We're literally only a couple of weeks away right now. And I know that I'm the guy that always says, all right, enough. I don't want to see anymore. Just show me the movie. Keep it secret. Well, thank God last night trailer wasn't any more new information. I don't think that's the same trailer from... That wasn't a new trailer last night, was it?
It's been out for a while.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But it's not like... Because I think there was a new international trailer a few days ago. I don't know. Anyway, even last night, seeing that trailer again, I just got so pumped up. So I want to talk predictions and what you guys think is coming. What you think will happen to this. Obviously, there's some stuff we know. We know it's about how they got the Death Star plans.
Yeah, it's like the Titanic.
Yeah, right?
It's like we know how it's going to end.
Yeah, but we're still so excited. Well, I want to ask you guys what you're most excited about first before we get into our predictions. Because I got to tell you, I was excited for 7. I loved 7. I can't wait for 8. I felt even more excited last night watching that trailer for Rogue One than I did for 7, and I think I know why. Watching 7 was kind of cool to see the evolution of where Star Wars is going and what's happened over the past 30 years and getting some new stuff. Mm-hmm. And I have trust in J.J. Abrams, and so far Disney and Marvel have been killing it. But this was like watching. Okay, this is the Star Wars that we remember as kids that we watched on the USA Network over and over and over, and on the VCR tapes over and over and over until you bought 7 different special edition fucking versions of them. But I thought this was so cool because the Stormtroopers are the Stormtroopers from A New Hope that we grew up with. Watching the X-Wing fighters, not new ones, the X-Wing fighters that we grew up with, flying through and hearing the music and seeing Mon Mothma in the trailer, this one, I think, took me back to Star Wars and gave you kind of that feeling, that childlike feeling, more than even 7 did, just because 7 was a continuation. This is like really going back to that era, but doing something new at the same time. But what are you guys most excited for?
Jump on it, man.
To be honest with you, watching the trailer in the large format, 'cause this is the first time I saw it in anything other than like a phone or on a computer. I'm kind of worried.
Really?
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Really? Why?
Because I noticed more than anything watching the trailer that they talk about the Force a lot in that movie. I mean, at that point, you got to kind of chronologically go through it, and I don't know that the Force was all that much of a thing then. I mean, it wasn't like it was, for the original one. Obviously, they're not talking about Sith and metachlorine counts, thank God. But at the same time,
because we all know the Force is really just bacteria in your blood.
But it's just, may the Force be with you. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see how they got from the end of 3 to 4, kind of covering some of that stuff. Hopefully they fill us in on maybe some other origins and bring some other stories in, or maybe some foreshadowing of some other characters. I'm hoping a little bit of Boba Fett, maybe cameo from Han or something like that.
God, I didn't think about that. They might actually do that.
Really?
They could. I don't know if they will, but they could, because this is taking place just before the opening crawl of A New Hope. Yeah. So they could.
Yeah. How does Princess Leia get the plans to the Death Star on her person?
Right. God, let's hope they don't use Carrie Fisher with some CGI. Can you imagine the Rotten Tomato drop it would get just from that scene alone? Let's do a test. Let's see how much we can piss them off with it before. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess in regards to it, I mean, I have hopes for it. I'd like to kind of see them do something with Darth Vader where he knows that the plans are getting leaked out. Maybe he's the one responsible for it at the end. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Cool. What do you think? What are you excited for?
I'm stoked. I love the setting. I love the fact that a good chunk of the movie would be being taken place on Scarif, the planet Scarif, with beaches and in kind of like a tropical type theme. I like the incorporation of the new shore trooper design, very close to the traditional stormtrooper, but it's modeled after, again, the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
The same way you saw the Blizzard troopers rolling into Hoth. I'm pretty excited about this. Also, some of the characters that they went with. Um, we see him briefly, but there it looks to be. I'm assuming he's a blind monk
Mm-hmm.
with the staff, and then his buddy Baze, the guy with the long hair and the who guns down like five stormtroopers in one shot. Trying to see like the interplay. I think they have the potential for some really definitive characters. I mean, again, they kind of follow like a similar archetype of characters we've seen in the Star Wars films before, but they're distinct enough. I like the fact that you have this blind individual that is essentially is a Force believer, but he's not a Jedi. He's not a Sith. He just
I like that. I like that twist.
I like the fact that you kind of have, Jean Orso. This obviously she's the rogue, but there's enough to her character where we haven't actually seen her before. We've seen elements of characters like that before, but there's still every one of these is distinct enough where it's not just we're just rehashing counterparts, kind of almost like with Force Awakens did with A New Hope,
Beat for beat.
where it's just kind of like a matching of everything. Just like the throwback of the original style, but the incorporation of that style into new elements. Like I mentioned the Shore Trooper, but what about the U-wing? That's kind of flying over the desert. Again, it matches up with kind of what we've come to know and expect and even like about the Star Wars universe. Again, I'm hoping that Vader has very little. That almost like everything that we've seen from him in the trailers is everything we're going to see from him in the movie. I think as far as the story goes, Matt, I think that's a nice idea. If he's the one that would be orchestrating getting the plans to maybe flush out the rebels. But again, if that's more of a behind the scenes type of presence, which I would like to see. I like the fact that the Jedi and the Sith are not the main elements in this film. It's about this encroaching empire and the rebellion that's building up to resist it. I mean, it's a time tested story. It works really well, and I think that the way that we know it and the way that from what they've shown us in the trailers, the way that they're portraying it is it gives me chills when I saw that latest trailer because that really just gets to the heart of it. The music buildups, the way that you're almost having like a General Patton-esque type speech that Jean's giving throughout the trailer, just kind of saying, thank you, that she's giving throughout about kind of saying, we're rebels, we have hope, all this, we are the underdogs, but we are going to win it, and just. I can feel that, and I like that. It's like, okay, yeah, let's go with this. We don't have a magic kid flying around that can blow up a space station with one shot. No, it's just we're a bunch of scrappers, and God damn it, we're gonna do something here. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's what makes me excited to see how this
kind of like a Remember
go.
the Titans kind of let's rally everybody. We know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean I want to see that.
Yeah, I think we're at least in agreement on this side, Matt. The fact that you're worried, then you're just dumb because they haven't screwed up Star Wars like DC has yet. So until they give you reason, then I'm just going to take away your opinion from you.
But they have.
Well, maybe.
Let's tell you what. Let's go into predictions about what we think is going to happen because it's interesting that you say, it's not shouldn't be Force centric or Jedi centric. I agree that I don't think that we're going to see any Jedi this movie. I know that by the time A New Hope gets around, I know when we talk about Luke and Obi-Wan being the last ones, doesn't necessarily mean that they're the last only two in the galaxy, just like they're basically the last two. Because even in Star Wars Rebels, and I don't know if you've been keeping up with that, where they're showing, how the Rebel Alliance builds up is really cool, but that there's been Jedi since Episode 3 and the Sith take over and the Jedi temples, basically demolished. There's the Jedi Order has been going on for thousands of years, so there's temples all over the place. They are exploring the Force beyond just the directed Jedi and the Sith. From what I understand, that one of the planets they're on is a very centric planet in the galaxy for Force religion, not for necessarily Jedi, but you know what I mean, like people that even in Force Awakens, that guy that gives at the very beginning of the movie that gives Poe Dameron the key was like talking about how there needs to be balance and we need the Force. Another element from the Lucas story group showing that the Force is something that Jedi is something that most people in their lifetime never see is what they've talked about. Lucas and Pablo Hidalgo have talked about. because there's only about 10,000 in the galaxy. When you got trillions of people, the odds that you're ever going to see a Jedi in your lifetime, unless you live on Coruscant, are few and far between. But as far as the Jedi and the Force and all that type of stuff being something that's not just the Jedi, because it's also studied by people. I mean, there was human beings and civilians that worked at the Jedi Temple. That was a big part of the Clone Wars. You know, how does that work? What's the dynamic? I love extended stuff like that, digging into how that stuff works together. But from my understanding, in Rogue One of these planets is going to be centric to the Force religion. Again, not Jedi, and I think that, that blind monk we see is someone that... doesn't he talk about that in one of the trailers, where he says everything is as the Force wills it? So he might not be a Force-sensitive user, a Jedi, but they are going to harp on... I don't know if I should say harp on, be touching on the Force as a religion in this movie, which I like that way more than the midichlorian stuff from the frickin' prequel. So we're going to see that. Here's what I want to know. Here's what we know so far. Jyn Erso is... the guy, or is the daughter of the guy that, from Casino Royale. I don't remember his Mad Mikkelsen or whatever his name is. Mads. I don't remember what his name is.
The villain in Doctor Strange.
Yes, the villain in Doctor Strange. Actually, we just saw that movie last night.
Yes.
I probably should have defaulted to that right away.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then we see in the trailers that they say basically the father is integral towards the completion, at least, of the Death Star. So I've got some ideas that I think would be really cool. Number one, here's what I'm wondering. Obviously, from just the trailer alone, seeing Jyn Erso's father being taken to the Empire basically against his will to complete this weapon, he's obviously not happy with it, got a lot of guilt going through him that you can even see in the trailer. Here's what I'm wondering. Wouldn't it be cool if he actually put that hole that they shot the proton torpedoes into intentionally without them knowing it, as kind of a way to at least, alleviate his guilt, try to have a secret way out or do something. I think that'd be really cool if they did that. I don't know if that's going to happen in the movie. Here's what else I love about this. Even though we know what eventually, how we get to A New Hope when Leia's got the plans and Darth Vader is coming on a Star Destroyer at the beginning of the movie, we don't know if any of these characters, if we assume they're all going to die, we don't know that. You know what I mean? They could all live and just not be in the rest, or maybe they're background characters in the original trilogy. Yeah. For all we know, so here's what I love about that. We don't know what's going to happen to them, so the stakes are high. It'd be really cool if they did some ultimate sacrifice, which I think is a good chance that we're going to see, that got the plans to the rebellion. I know in Jedi, Mon Mothma talks about many Bothans died to get us this information, but I think that's about the second Death Star. Yeah, the second Death Star. Yeah. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Darth Vader. Thank God. I hope not. Use him sparingly, just like they did in Rebels. But I am excited to see him in this. This is going to be cool. Get as much of that voice recorded as you can while we still got James Earl Jones on this planet. And here's something, and I don't know if this is much of a prediction, but because I really don't have any other predictions, I have no idea. All these characters are so varied. All we know is from the trailer, Mon Mothma is getting these people together. Your father's important. We want to use you. And they somehow get involved with the Empire and get the plans. But seeing all this cool stuff and the tropical stuff is cool. Here's what I would love more than anything. God, I would love this. If Jyn Erso turns out to be Mara Jade from the extended universe, which is now Legends. And for those of you who don't know who that is, because I didn't actually read the books. I just know this stuff from studying wikis. I'm one of you. She's the one that apparently it's not the Thrawn trilogy right afterwards, right? It's later down the road in the EU that she hooks up and marries Luke Skywalker and they have kids. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be so cool if Jyn Erso turned out to be Rey's mother from Force Awakens. Because there are so many images I was showing you months ago of Jyn Erso, and then we compared them to images from Mara Jade off of the Star Wars wiki, and they are almost identical. Like the color, everything was on them. They both have English accents. I think that's really cool. I don't know how they would explain that Rey doesn't remember her dad.
It's one of these.
Yeah. I mean, they've never.
Not the dad you're looking for.
Yeah, but when you hear people talk about mind wipes, we've never seen that in the Star Wars Force ability, wipe your mind before. I don't know. I just think that'd be really cool if they threw Mara Jade in there and paid some homage to the EU, because that's such a beloved character in the EU, which is now referred to as Legends. and it'd be such a cool, nice tie-in that would kind of see it as this culminates by episode 9. But I think we're actually going to find out how to raise parents in 8. But so I guess my big predictions are, and I don't even know if you can call it a prediction, is I think it'd be cool if Jyn Erso's dad put that. What was that tube called that they shot the proton torpedoes?
The exhaust port.
Yeah.
The exhaust port. If he did that intentionally and for some reason tied it all the way down to the goddamn reactor and nobody thought that would... I think that'd be cool if that was intentional. I don't know. That's my thoughts. What about you guys?
I guess in regards to it, I'd like to see like Lando, Han. I'd like at some point
But we're
like
getting a
he
Han
dumped
Solo
his cargo.
movie, though.
Yeah, but I mean, just kind of tie him in. You've already cast the guy,
Yeah.
so you can put him in there. Show him dumping his cargo that got Boba Fett, got Jabba the Hutt after his ass. Show me that.
Don't
That's all
you
it's
think
gotta
that we're
be.
getting enough of a Han Solo movie that if he came in this one, he would steal the show and then nobody would even pay attention to the story?
That's going to be what the Solo movie is, though. It's Han Solo dumping cargo.
That would be cool opening instead of, because they said they're not doing an opening crawl. That's sticking to the saga-only movies. If they literally start with just the Millennium Falcon parking, dropping some shit off, taking off, and then we go right into the story and they don't even talk about it.
No, I guess other than that, I mean, is Boba Fett going to be in it? Are there going to be references to the other characters?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just want it to be so much different than the than 1, 2, and 3 that I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it has some redeeming qualities to it that that brings it back more.
So far, since Disney's taken control of Lucasfilm, I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that were nervous about it. But they seem to be doing it with so much care. Like, it literally feels like the people that are working at Disney and Lucasfilm are now people like us that grew up with this. You know what I mean? And now care and hated the shitty prequels so much. We're like, good. Can we do now what would actually feel like a Star Wars movie? So, I mean, from the trailer, do you get the feeling that at least they're going to get the right tone, just like they did with The Force Awakens?
I do. I think it's visually what you see. I mean, it's great. And it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I really did enjoy Force Awakens, but I still have my reservations for Star Wars right now.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they're all going to die?
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the plans have to get to Princess Leia somehow.
Right.
I mean, it's not like shooting her an email. It's, galaxy far, far away. They
And
didn't
you know
have
what?
things like that.
Why isn't it? Why isn't it? Well, actually, don't they say in A New Hope that they detected a transmission was brought in? So they did beam the plans to the blockade runner in 4, right? Didn't they say that we detected the transmission?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it literally isn't going to be her walking in on her last leg or whoever does it and saying, "Here you go, Leia. Now go form a rebellion and then die," or anything like that. It's probably going to be something that would make it even cooler if right before they die in some cataclysmic thing they get the transmission out. That would be awesome. That would be so cool. That would add a lot of weight to 4.
Yeah. I don't know if I go so far as to say that they're going to die. I never really got that impression. I mean,
No, we don't know.
yeah, I'd actually be kind of surprised if they went that far with it. I'm sure there'll probably be casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not all of them though. I would say at least a good portion of them would survive. My expectations for this thing are pretty low, and that's not to disparage the film at all. It's just the fact that I'm going into this thing. I want to be just shown something, and I really don't care what it is as long as it's Star Wars and it doesn't suck.
Mm-hmm.
But the only little nuance that I'm curious about is, and I'm not even sure if they'll since this is from the EU. If they'll stick with this, but showing us the source of the beam within the Death Star, if they're actually going to be showing the crystal that they're using that actually powers.
Because they did that on the Clone Wars. Well, they didn't complete the episode, but did you see on StarWars.com they put up the unfinished episodes that they've at least recorded dialogue and did the basic layout of the characters? They actually did that with the giant kyber crystals.
Really, yeah. I'd like to see if it's just either on a schematic or if while they're putting the major deflector dish slotted right in.
Because we saw that in the trailer. It looks like they're. And by the way, how does that work? When you got something that's that big, where Star Destroyers look like that, and then you got this giant dish, and it looks like, well, it's kind of going in slow. Well, not if you consider the size of that thing. That's going at about 100 miles an hour. And what is that, just going to stop? Or wouldn't that kind of like, yeah.
A lot of room for error, too, I guess, as far as this thing being lined up properly. It's, that's the only thing I guess I'd be curious to see, or that I really hope for. I think from what they've shown so far, I'm already pretty pleased with kind of how they put this thing together. So, fingers crossed that this really doesn't blow up. But I there's really not a whole else that I'd really want to see added, or that I really think should be added.
Matt, you got anything else to add to that?
No, I guess I'm not really scared. I'm more along the lines of Dan. I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. Right now I feel a little indifferent, maybe because of the number of trailers I've seen. I hope there's something in the movie I haven't seen in a trailer.
I've been saying that for weeks, man. I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying they don't need... You know what? I actually... I know that when we talked before, I said there was a new international trailer, and I did see a couple more featurettes out here. But actually, I looked into them more, and they said that the international trailer, there's only like 3 seconds of new stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Disney is doing a good job so far outside of Marvel. I should say that. At least Star Wars wide, just giving us drips. Because literally with the when we come down to predictions for Rogue One, we really don't know anything other than Jyn Erso is this guy's father. There's a group that's going to go try to get the Death Star plans.
That's all we need.
That's it.
That's all we need.
I love that.
And the guy from the Crying Game is in it.